Oh, good morning. And welcome to 1 Million Cups, who are welcome here today and braving the construction and all of that kind of stuff. Hopefully you didn't have to park too far away. So you get a little exercise to burn off the coffee that you've been generating all day. So we'd like to thank you for making that trip. We're going the right way, here we go. So welcome. For those of you that are, any first timers today? First time you've been here? A couple? Very good. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We get together every week, and it is a forum for entrepreneurs to get together and to connect and to share and to support each other. And the premise is that we're going to do that over 1 million cups of coffee. I don't know that we're quite there in Bismarck, but I think as a whole we've exceeded that very well. So welcome. Uh-oh. It's not working, Tyler. Okay. So as we talked about, can we change the face of our startup community by connecting local entrepreneurs over 1 million cups of coffee? We talked about that. There we go. And we'd like to just give an acknowledgement to all the people that are behind the scenes and do a lot of work to helping us out. Our special Vente sponsors, National Day Calendar, Marlo Anderson, who is a big supporter, the Bismarck Mandan Chamber of Commerce, who has gotten behind us very, very well over the years, and Sandsted Law offices, who have recently become a Vente sponsor, and our Grande sponsor, University of Mary. We have a couple people from here today, and Dakota Bank. And all the people that are behind the scenes and help us out in so many different ways. Cappuccino on Collins supplies the coffee that you've enjoyed today. Coffee with Clyde, Sanford Home Healthcare, BizBlocks, Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Business, Gizmonics, and Akazi. Did I pronounce that right, Bernie? That was close. You want to give me the right name? Okay, got that? Okay. Thanks, Arnie. I appreciate it. I'm sorry. And then the people that are just behind the scenes, all the folks that just provide support and help us with our marketing and setting up and tearing down and all of those kinds of things. That's this whole group of people here. All right. At the end of our presentation today, you will have the opportunity to ask questions. So our presenters will do their pitch on where they are with their project that they're going to show us today. And we are going to have questions come from you, the audience, but also know that we have people who are watching via YouTube, and they may send some in. So you might get questions from all over the place. We don't know where they come from sometimes. And so you'll have the opportunity to engage. So think about the questions that you would like to have and be ready at the end. So we'll get started with some of our community announcements we have today. National Take Back the Lunch Break Day. I'm not sure. Marlo's not here. National Take Back the Lunch Break Day. Anybody want to guess on that one? I honestly do not know what that means. Okay, go ahead.
I looked it up. It's to try and get people to actually take a break instead of working through their day hours.
Employers. Who are the employers? Let your people go for lunch. All right. Very good. Thank you for doing that. So actually encouraging them to do that. Got it. Global Neighbors. Is anybody here from Global Neighbors?
Yep, that's me.
All right. Here you go.
Awesome. So this Saturday, we are hosting International Fest in Dykeshorn Park. So we invite everybody to come out, rain or shine. It's looking a little cloudy, maybe a little drizzle, but there's 5 food trucks, so grab your lunch. We also have indoor space at the library there in Mandan. I know we have 5 food truck coming. We have over 20 different countries represented this year. So we're super excited. We've got some art projects that are happening inside the library. So I invite everybody to join us. I think I'm the next slide too. So we'll find out. Nope, sure I'm not, but that's okay. I also want a couple other things happening at Global Neighbors. We do have a community garden that's going on. So raise your hand if you've heard of the Parks and Rec, like the community garden plots. Yes, perfect. We have one, and we have a salsa garden going. So my plan is to get a crazy ton of tomatoes and peppers and all kinds of good stuff, and then have a salsa party when the fall comes, when we harvest. So if you're interested in that, give me a shout out. And then also, Global Neighbors is hosting an open house. We've expanded our space. So if you follow us on Facebook, I just posted it on there. But Monday, this upcoming Monday, from 4 to 6, we invite you to just come out, see our space. We'll have some light snacks, that kind of thing, to help us vision and dream and get this space full. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you very much. And our final slide. Let's celebrate the 1-year anniversary. Devin, there you are. I was looking for you.
All right, hello everyone. I am Devin Rourke, owner of Plainsman Therapy and, well, a therapist as well. And so Plainsman Therapy is a mental health clinic here in town, and we're going to be celebrating 1 year. It's crazy. Time flies, and whether you're having fun or just nose to the grindstone, time's flying. So it's been a year, and so we're going to celebrate with some refreshments. We're going to have some treats on Wednesday, July 8th, 4 to 5 p.m. I'm also going to be giving a workshop on how to find peace in the present. Entrepreneurs, you guys are all busy, you guys are all doing a lot, and so maybe a little peace wouldn't be too bad. So we're going to be covering that and a bit more of just about what we're doing. We've added another therapist, and so we'll be talking about that as well and some of the things we offer. So 4 to 5, July 8th, at our office location. Thanks.
Quick hand for 1 year. There we go. Congratulations. Okay. North Dakota Safety Network. Anybody from there? There you go.
I'm Lane Hoffer. I'm on the North Dakota Safety Network board and a bunch of other stuff. But we have this coming up July 21st. Basically, WSI is going to be there. Ben Sand is going to be talking about the incentive programs and also going to be talking about just different incident reporting and stuff. So I know it sounds boring, but it's actually, it touches a lot of different industries. So if you want to check it out, it's a membership meeting, but you don't have to be a member to attend. I believe it's $25. That's for lunch, basically. So if you can, go back. By the 13th, if you can RSVP for it. Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, any other community announcements? Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Arnie Strebe. I'm the co-race director for the YMCA's Youth Triathlon. We're having our 10th annual event this year. Last year we had 146 kids. It's on August 22nd at 9 a.m. The event is a 50-yard swim, a 2-mile bike ride, and a half-mile run. Last year, like I said, we had 146 kids. We're going to top it off at 150. And we also need volunteers. If you'd like to volunteer, just contact me. Thank you.
Thanks, Arnie. Anybody else with a community announcement? Here we go.
Hi, I'm Tate with the Bismarck Mandan Chamber EDC, and I definitely owe someone a graphic. But we have our Celebrate Bismarck Mandan Awards open for nominations, and we would love to see some good representation from the Bismarck Mandan community in there. We have great awards open like Golden Eagle, which is military appreciation, Women-Owned Business of the Year, Small and Large Business, and a Community Bridge Award for nonprofit, and so many more. So please check out our website so you can nominate a business, and they can get recognized on September 24th at Celebrate Bismarck Mandan.
All right, anybody else with a community announcement? Okay. All right, well, we're going to get started today. So, I'm going to introduce you to a couple of the individuals here. There's not 3, there are 2 here today, right? We're not missing anybody, okay. So, Jarred Roloff and Kyle Leftwich are with Paramount Builders and Paramount Development Group. And they're going to talk to you today about Next Play Rec Center. You've probably heard the buzz in the news. It's become a hot spot and an idea for people that are truly excited for alternative and additional spaces to have recreation that we haven't had for a while in this community. So I'm going to let Kyle and Jarred step up here and tell us all about it, and we'll go from there. Welcome them to the stage, please.
Is this on? Yeah. There we go. Well, thanks everyone for having us, and appreciate you being here today. Like Mark said, my name is Jarred Roloff, and this is one of my partners, Kyle Leftwich. We're here today representing Paramount Development Group, and us alongside with our partners in Inland Oil and Gas. We're super excited for this project and excited for the opportunity to share this with you today. At its core, the rec center, Next Play Rec Center, is a 210,000 square foot indoor recreation destination focused on youth sports organizations, family gathering, and community development. We're here, we're excited today to just share our story a little bit about where it started, what it's grown into, and like any entrepreneurial, idea, we're just solving a problem, and one that's kind of personal to us in, affecting our lives and our families as well. So.
There we go. A little background on the group. So we're builders, developers, business owners in town, but really this idea stemmed from being parents. So between the four of us, I think we have about 13 kids. I think that's accurate. That's grade school all the way up to high school kids. So, during the day we have our businesses, but in the evenings it's chasing our kids around, dropping them off at sporting events, finding time, struggling with indoor space for them to play, along with late nights, because of that lack of space.
So this slide, if you're a parent with an active kid or children, this might be a little bit familiar to you. The problem we're solving really isn't youth participation. There's plenty of kids that want to be in sports, plenty of parents that wants their kid to be active in general. The problem that we're having around here in Bismarck-Mandan is really truly access, and that can kind of be broken up into a few different parts of, we hear a lot of horror stories about kids being turned away from youth athletics because they didn't hit the registration button at 12:01 at midnight, to get in. Those groups have to turn kids away because they don't have the space for their coaches to develop these kids. We deal constantly with travel. If you're in sports in the Bismarck-Mandan area, you know that if you're going to compete, you have to travel. We're constantly going out of Bismarck and other cities and states to chase camps, coaching, and especially tournament play. And anytime we do that, doesn't matter what sport you're in, you're going to be dropping $800 to $1,000 minimum a weekend to go do that. And that adds up, and it's frustrating to us as parents and business owners that we're pushing that economics out to other cities. We're giving them the dollars instead of bringing those dollars in. And so, the other piece of this is low supply. Youth athletics is just growing nationwide. It's growing. Locally, it's growing. And we're not keeping up with the supply of facilities in town. We can look at what we have, the demand from our user groups, and we can easily say that Bismarck-Mandan is 20 to 25 years behind in facility development, just because the amount of demand that has come and really we're just lacking around here.
So brief little history on how we got here. So I'd say 4 or 5 years ago, this started as our kids play hockey in the winter, Jared and I's kids. This started as building more hockey rinks. We engaged architects, private landowners, we had land, but through that process, we had other groups reach out to us, gymnastics groups, soccer groups, and it was kind of the common theme of we need space. So the project grew, we did a rough little estimate on the project and basically found out that it's not economically feasible to build new without tax dollars, public support, and things like that. So that kind of got tabled for a little bit, and then along came the former Super Value Warehouse, later the UNFI building, and originally we looked at this because it had freezer space. Could we retrofit one of these for an ice sheet? Knowing from these other user groups, we knew the sizes they needed. We knew gymnastics needed 40-foot tumbling areas, soccer needed 50-foot wide. So walking through the facility, we saw their beams are spaced that far apart. They have the taller ceilings. It's 210,000 square feet, like Jarred said earlier, and we can fit a lot of stuff in there. And so instead of, as you see in the picture, it was about 1 million pounds of pallet racking throughout that facility that's now been removed, in the process of being removed. And we saw it more as turf than a distribution center, moving forward.
So our mission, when we were walking through that building, we really knew that it could be more than just a sports facility, right? When we were walking through there, we saw more of a community, a gathering space, activation areas. And so the mission that we're want to create in here is really designed to be a gathering space for youth to develop, for families to gather, and the community to grow together collectively and have a sense of community within those walls collectively. Together, we want that to be a year-round activation that serves the community long into the future.
So where we're at, so along the way, like I said, we have probably yet to reach out to user groups. They've all kind of come to us to date, so that kind of shows the need. And of the 210,000 square feet, the phase one will activate about 170,000 square feet of that. We are phasing the project. That just makes it more manageable. But what we have right now are basketball, volleyball courts in one area, some indoor turf fields that can be used for futsal, football practice, lacrosse, any of your turf sports, baseball. There is a baseball area with batting cages, along with a little indoor turf area for training. A giant indoor playground. It's about 5,000 square feet on the main floor. It's 3 stories high. Walking track, kind of community engagement that people can just come walk around the track. Goes through the whole facility. Cafe area, to grab coffee while your kids are practicing. Other things going in there, gymnastics facility. There's a dedicated volleyball court area where we have 30-foot ceilings. They can put 4 courts in there. Pickleball courts, and then an arcade area, possibly some sports simulators down the road.
So how it all works, how can we do this privately versus a public project? We get that asked quite often, what's the feasibility and sustainability of this project? Well, as this has morphed and grown, we've developed a business plan that is really, like a hybrid model, if you will, in 3 parts. We're acting as developer. We're, reconditioning this building, refitting it up so that we can bring these user groups in, turnkey. It's ready to go. Walk into, everything's provided for them to support their organization. And so the foundational piece of this is creating rec space that's affordable for these user groups so that they can have longevity and sustainability within their business models. So they, in turn, they'll lease the spaces from us. In turn, they get full control of their schedule, their calendars. They can have the practice times that they need for their organization to grow and thrive. Also, these groups are finding ways to bring in more camps, bring in more private coaching, bring in tournament play, which is huge for their organization to grow and to support the community at large. With that, the flexibility in the space for the community is that we can take the unusable or unused time that aren't at their peak hours and open that up to the community where they can come in, do private events, birthday parties, coaching. They can bring in their own tournaments if it's a different group that wants to use the space. It's a very synergistic model where we want that place activated all the time. And third, it's a location, a destination that has everything under one roof, all sports under one roof. And whether you have multiple kids in multiple sports, you're going to one location, cutting down on drive time. But also we want to activate people while they're there. We want to create that sense of community. So while mom and dad come and drop off their kid for baseball, soccer practice, whatever it may be, what do you do when you drop your kid off at hockey and you got 2 hours to burn in the middle of winter, right? Everybody's doom scrolling on their phones or wasting time in their cars or whatever they're going to do. This gives them opportunity to use the walking track, be part of the Life Center, go grab coffee, you get some work done at the mezzanine, sitting in common areas. The other kids can go play in the playground. They can go to the arcade and entertain themselves for an hour or two. There's something for everybody there. If mom and dad want to go on the sports simulators while their kids are being active in their sport, something for everybody. During tournament play, we want to make sure that this is a facility where people want to come back to do tournaments at our location, and we want to keep them active, and we want to keep them fed and happy and enjoy the time here. So we really want to make sure it's a year-round activated area, both for regional sports and really the broader community.
So I'd say probably our biggest question is where are things at, that we get asked all the time. So like I mentioned before, the total square foot is, it's 210,000 square feet. Phase 1 is 170,000 square feet. With a project like this versus new construction, it does come with its challenges and a lot of due diligence and, engineering studies and parking studies and permitting, funding sources. So we're kind of on the tail end of the due diligence side of things, ready for construction here. The goal is to open late 2026 this year. We're hoping we still will be close to that. But we are doing a phased approach just so we can get part of it open, and then the remaining 40,000 square feet we're still programming on.
So where do we go from here? What do we see in the next year and 5 years of operations? Obviously, first of all, like Kyle mentioned, we're going to build out phase 1. We're going to get that up and running. We're going to work with, we have more business opportunities, more partnerships that we're building to finish out the rest of the space and get that open in the next year or so. And really what our goal is to, again, make this a year-round activated space. We're working with our user groups, our athletic groups, and our operators to activate that space, work on bringing in tournament play, more camps, shared spaces. We've got groups that are going to be kind of working together collaboratively on supporting their either group or their business. And so we're working on building out and making that space active year-round. And again, we really see this as a sports and recreation hub for Bismarck-Mandan and for the state. This is going to be a huge benefactor for Bismarck in total because from a personal angle, less travel. We're not sending our kids out as much. We're giving more opportunities for the clubs to have the tournament play here. That means less time away from home, less time with families split. I mean, at one point or several points this past winter, I have 4 kids. I had 3 hotel reservations in 3 different cities to support my hockey kids. I mean, I would love to be able to be with my family more. I would love to be able to keep those dollars here in town to support local businesses. And so we want that tournament play. We want this to be the regional hub and the magnet to bring tournaments and teams from outside back to Bismarck, bringing that energy here and bringing those dollars and economic impact here to Bismarck.
So why we're here? A couple of questions we're still working through. Every time we give a tour of this facility, there's always a new idea. There's always a new user group. So it's ever evolving. We're definitely open to more suggestions on what are we missing, what does Bismarck-Mandan need, are there potential partnerships, other user groups that we need to reach out to. And then 2, how do we keep momentum on this? We have our webpage. We'll be sending out updates as things move forward, once construction starts, but any ideas on how to engage, keep people informed, that's kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah. So really, what started for us is just a concept, a conversation of how do we figure out more practice space for kids in our sport and others that were approaching us, really turned into a larger vision for recreation and community development in Bismarck-Mandan. And so we're super excited for this. We hear there's a lot of community support behind this, and we love that. And if we can just encourage you to support it, and if you want to follow along or or become part of the project, definitely reach out. We've got our Facebook page at NextPlayRec. Instagram handle is at NextPlayBiz, and then our website is nextplaybiz.com. If you're a club leader, an organizer, a parent of athletic kids, adult league, anything, and want to be part of this, definitely reach out. You can inquire through the website. And then if you want to sponsor a space, court, anything, if you want to support one of the local sports groups, but through some marketing dollars, definitely reach out to us. You can inquire again through the website or grab us afterward. We'd love to chat and tell you about the opportunities to be part of this project and how you can support it. So we really appreciate you guys being here today and listening to a little bit of our story so we can get this out in the world. And thanks. We couldn't do this without community support and everybody being a part of it. So thank you, and love to hear your thoughts on it and answer any questions that you guys have. So.
On the other side and steal both of those from you. Thank you. All right. So as Ross is going to find people from the audience and they're going to start asking questions, we'll just get one question to start up. So 4 or 5 years ago, you're talking and we've got kids in sports and we're all over the place. Somebody had to sit back and say, what is this going to cost, right? So, so when you start to do that and you started to think this is monumental, and I like the idea of getting the local sports stuff in play with it as well, because now they're engaged. So how does that model work now going forward? Does it become kind of a nonprofit entity? Are you kind of doing it as a community thing? You're owning and then you're feeding back. How does that look? What you feel you can share?
Yeah. I guess part of what makes this work and financial sustainability is with our development company, we're a very vertically integrated group. We've got development, we can control the projects on the front end conceptually through to completion, but also having controls of cost measures with being the builder, developer. We've got history in management of facilities and assets, different asset classes. And so by having as well as other trade companies below us. And so by having full control of a project, we're able to do things, I'd say, more economically than maybe a public entity or a nonprofit group. We've got more triggers to pull and more flexibility. And so when we can analyze numbers and look at new construction, we understand land costs, we understand new construction expenses and where they come from. And so by being able to read through those, we're able to reduce costs on the project, we're able to streamline things a little bit and come up with value engineering options that really bring this down to be more affordable, in addition to knowing what we saw in the building and what we're able to attain it for. We could, see through the numbers, so to speak, to make it affordable. And so where does it go from here? This project is set up with a group of investors. I mean, that's what it is. We need support between developers and investors. We're able to tackle this financially and do it privately. There's no tax dollars. There's no government incentives. There's nothing. I mean, when this first came out, we were getting hit with, oh, great, now look where our tax dollars are going again, right? Well, there's no tax dollars, guys. This is a private lift, and it's very difficult. There's a lot of moving parts, and just having the experience we have helps us put this all together and stay on top of things. So it is basically an investment, but it's an investment in the community that we're living in. And so long term, we've got a few exit strategies. We would love to work with the city more on things like this, but ultimately we see this as the start, and hopefully this spurs more activity within Bismarck-Mandan and gets more public attention and more buy-in from the community, so we can do more spaces. This is a Band-Aid for Bismarck Mandan. It's 210,000 square feet, and we look at this as a Band-Aid for the amount of need and demand that's out there. So we need more.
I think I heard that.
Why don't you tackle it?
So it was, the two parts were best practice for running the facility or managing it? Oh, sure.
Go through all of these challenges by when there's a best practice out there, right? And then I think the second question is with the use of AI, how are you using AI to kind of help you move quicker, faster, whether it's the branding, marketing, advertising, and the financial work, all those different type of things. So a two-part question.
Gotcha. Yep, I understood that. So as far as models from other cities, I mean, we've leaned into a little bit of the public sector, Parks and Rec. So to put in perspective, the new rec center in Fargo is the exact same square footage. They do have 2 hockey rinks in there. Ironically enough, there is no hockey in this facility, and that's how this started. So looking at their model of renting space to user groups, talking to Parks and Rec locally, we've reached out to private developers around the country that have done similar complexes, not necessarily to this scale, but a lot of it's just learning as we go, having the conversations. AI side of things, we have not really leveraged that on this project. Outside of a few little quick suggestions, some renderings here and there, but we've used local professionals, architects, engineers to kind of lean on their knowledge heavily.
Awesome. I have 2 boys at home, and I always said I wouldn't gender my children, but boy, they are full boy. So I've got a 6-year-old and an almost 1-year-old. I'm really excited for, we're not quite touring sports yet, but that will come in, it's quickly approaching, and then I have a 1-year-old. So I'm really excited for the indoor playground space. Can you share a little bit more about phase 1 and phase 2? Are you leaving phase 2? I assume that indoor playground space, like you're gonna work on getting the sports leagues and things going here. Can you share a little bit more about what is phase 1, what is phase 2? Are you leaving more open opportunities for that additional 40,000 that isn't part of phase 1?
Sure. Yeah, I can hop it. So the playground is actually, their equipment has been arriving. So they will be probably the first group up and running. It's a private, group, company in town, Prairie Playground. They have announced that. So they'll be running that. They'll be running it like a lower tier day pass, multiple kid discounts. So I'd say a similar one would be like the YMCA playground that you can buy and have your kids play there for half a day, full day. There's also like a Sky Zone type setup, where you buy your day pass. So they'll be in phase 1. The whole phase 1 is the rec space and the playground. Phase 2 is more, we have some office areas that were in the original building, kind of in the central core when Super Valley had their management in there, and UNFI. We're leaning more towards a medical suite type area for potential PTs, chiropractors, kind of ancillary services to athletics that they could kind of play on there. So that's phase 2, and then we have on the west side of the building, there's still about 13,000 square feet. That's still storage at the moment that we're either looking to convert to more rec space or leave it as storage if there's the right kind of partnership there. Then on the east side of the building, there's 4 acres of raw land still that we'd be looking to expand in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I know there's a couple others, but now you're talking the outside space. Would you plan on maybe using the outside space as well for developing into additional fields and that kind of thing, right along with?
Yeah,
the
it's came with the land, right? In our original model, we're not using that space as part of the financial model or anything. It's just usable space. So if anybody's got a user group that wants to do an ancillary building of sorts or occupy that space in any way, that'd be great. We'd love to hear from people, but we have engaged with one group to do a complex like that. They want to kind of be standalone, but still be part of the overall community of what's going on there. And so there are discussions in doing a secondary building with additional parking spaces and some outdoor fields. So we'll see where that goes, but as of now, it's not really part of our core of the business model. It's just kind of a nice extension and additional modeling that we can use. So we want to keep it and retain it though for athletics and to support this project. So.
Hi, thanks for presenting. I also have two littles, and so I'm very excited that you guys solved this problem before I had to go through it in the years to come. I am curious because I love the idea around the whole space being activated as a family for multiple reasons. And so I'm curious, is it almost like a YMCA model where there's memberships and the entire family can utilize the space, or do you have kind of like you said, day passes for the designated areas? I'm just kind of curious what that might look like.
Yeah, I can take that. So is it like a YMCA model? I would say no. And it's not like a traditional Parks and Rec model either. Again, that hybrid model of, where the spaces are being controlled by either a private user group, club, or operator, and there will be programming for that. So certain areas like pickleball, is going to develop its own leagues, and you can be part of that, and you can rent a pickleball court. The playground is day pass, right? And so there's areas where maybe your club is volleyball. You're going to be in that volleyball area, but the common spaces, there's a lot of common space in the area too, the walking path. Anybody can come any time of the day and use that walking path to get some exercise or just be part of the group. Anybody can come grab a coffee and a sandwich from the coffee shop. Anybody can, go play at the arcade, the simulators, and so there's a lot of open community space where people can come enjoy, or if you're there anyways for practice, use those spaces and those amenities in that manner. So it's not really a membership base, other than more so renting or time blocks to use the facility in certain areas.
I'm familiar with the space, and I would like to talk to you afterwards.
Excellent.
Why not the hockey? I know the freezer area was geared to where it had to be 25 below because that was federal standard for ice cream. And the fridge space is right next to it with their docks in there. But is it that there's a weight-bearing wall in between that you couldn't overcome that space to create the hockey? Because it does seem ideal in some respects. So curious about that.
Yeah. So the west end is freezer space. When we purchased it, it does have columns right in the middle, which those could have been removed. So we did look at that. The sizing of it would have put it at a very small mini sheet, if you will. I know Fargo has one mini sheet. It would have been even smaller than that. So the feasibility of keeping that up and running for little kid practice, maybe some independent training, laying the coils over the concrete isn't ideal for a cooling system. So then it'd be tearing out the floor and running new lines. We do have a spot in the northwest corner. We have high hopes we could add onto the two walls there for a smaller sheet of ice. 3/4 sheet is about what would fit within city regulations on parking needs and things like that. But it would have been ideal. It would have been great. But,
and that's where this all started.
Yes.
We went in there looking at the freezer spaces.
We even looked at curling in that area.
Yeah.
We had a curling group come through. So.
It really came down to the type of mechanical system, the ammonia system that was in there. Even though it's freezer space, it wasn't conducive to making ice of that nature, right? So the addition of adding the coils and the compressors and all that wouldn't have been paid back with the type of space that it would have been, right? So it just didn't work for the sport, unfortunately. So it's kind of I giggle at your question a little bit because it was like very painful for me to have to deal with that situation.
Okay, yeah. As an older taxpayer who has no kids in the current area, I have a couple questions and then one comment. First off, all of these user groups that you have lined up, are they going to be affordable to those user groups? Have they all agreed that they can pay that? number one. And number two, how soon do you folks see that you're going to be in the black? And then thirdly, when you said exit strategy, that just raises the hair on the back of my neck, because that indicates to me that you want to get this project done and then dump it on the city and make the taxpayers responsible for it. So I hate to be negative, but those are
Hey,
are
those
my
questions
thoughts.
are out there. Appreciate you asking. No, so what's the taxpayer impact, that kind of thing? Like we said, there's no impact on the taxpayer for this. We're not getting any kind of tax incentives. We're not getting TIF funds. We're not getting Renaissance. We're not getting, so down the road, does this work? Yeah, so we have set the lease rates for these groups. We've worked with them on the lease rates to say, what can you afford? How do you see this? How can you grow your business? We're working with them on modeling their businesses so they are sustainable, right? We are keeping that rent low. And to be honest, the rent itself needs to be supplemented with other revenue streams. So there's arcade, there's the cafe, there's the playgrounds, right? So there's other things in this, as well as sponsorship opportunities. That is all part of the revenue stream to make this work, right? Because our goal is to make it affordable for these groups to have long-term sustainability. We're not after this project to say, all right, let's get this up and get the hell out of here, right? I mean, this is our community. We want this thing to be here forever. We've got multiple, when I say exit strategy and trigger, that's kind of our verbiage to say, how do we get out of the way and make sure this thing has a substantial, sustainable model, right? Like, we're not going to leave this thing until there's a way for this to have longevity. Otherwise, we're staying in it for long term. And to be quite honest, our plan is to stay in it long term, right? And it's not a private, or it's not a publicly funded thing. So we do need to make sure it has the revenue streams, and we're very confident that we'll be in the black by the time we're up and running and stabilized.
So you said that this is like a Band-Aid on the problem that we have with like youth sports. So how much space do you guys think that like we would need in the near future to actually accommodate it all? Like I'm a soccer coach in town, so I was actually planning on creating my own space because of the lack of space.
Let's chat.
But then usually that takes a long time between planning. But then by the time that you start getting dirt moving, you have 2-3 more spaces opening kind of in the same pace, you know. So how do you think that your guys' project with other projects that are coming through, and then sometimes the city talking about putting their own how much space would we need until we say now we have kind of too much space?
It's a good question.
Yeah, how much space is enough? I'm going to ramble a little bit, and you can jump in if you want, I guess. But
I like to ramble.
I do. Looking at it, obviously, Bismarck grows at a sustainable rate, 3 to 5% a year. So there's always more activity happening. If you look at, we look at as economic drivers, right? You look at Fargo, in the cities, they're putting in so many sports complexes because there's a lot of money there. There's a lot of money that gets generated back to the city because we're bringing people to town. It's a you call it tourism if you want, but it's an economic driver. Is there, as far as enough spaces, we're serving a certain sect of that market. It's not the Parks and Rec groups. It's not the YMCA groups. These are the private groups, the private coaches, the U's of the world here in Bismarck. And as we're working with people like you in what they want to do, whether it's coaching or tournament play or start another league of some sort, everybody says they want their own space because they can control their practice times, have it being theirs. But it's just completely unfeasible. It's so expensive to build new that these groups can't make it work. And so when we can help them with affordable space to make that happen, then it's feasible. We took a building that was a dead stick. It was a tax liability for the city. It was until we picked it up. And we were able to retrofit it into something that supports the community and supports organizations like yours. So I can't really answer how much space is enough. My gut would tell me we need, this location plus another location in the next 5 years and a third one in 10 years. There's just, but it depends on how much support the community comes back, and it's can we bring those tournaments in? It's all the economic driver of bringing we want people from South Dakota, Montana, Canada to come to Bismarck instead of us having to go to Minneapolis, and so there's a lot to that question, but there's definitely not enough. I don't know if you want to add anything here.
No, thank you.
Hi, guys. As someone who's been watching this project, I feel like this is a personal triumph for you guys to be on stage today, so congratulations. I know there's been a lot of agony and a lot of planning, but a lot of excitement that has gone into it, so congratulations. And I know you got a lot more to come, but really, congratulations. A couple of questions for you. Have you identified who the coffee shop will be? Will it be a local vendor? Is that what you're looking to put in there? And then the second question is, what are your plans for collaboration for additional projects that will come to Bismarck Mandan? Do you see yourself trying to collaborate? You say this is a Band-Aid, and we all know it is because we don't have enough space. But how are you collaborating with perhaps other developers for additional projects?
Yeah, you bet. So cafe-wise, yes, local. We have 2 different local coffee shop cafes engaged that would like the space. Just kind of working on the details there. So, yep, it'll be a local cafe. We do have a future spot. We're looking at possibly a local restaurant as well in there. There's as part of that phase 3, 4 down the road. As far as engaging, I mean, we're probably the biggest cheerleaders for more space, and this started as developer on land. I mean, North Bismarck, where Bismarck's growing. And so we still do support that, and we would hop on those projects with what we've learned and help those move forward as well.
Question, as you go through these different phases, how many, and this is where I think is very exciting, is how many new jobs are you guys creating, like for a phase 1, a phase 2 on the full-time side, and then also on the part-time side, but then also what kind of positions are you creating?
You want that one, or yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the facility is concerned, we have an operating group that will be hiring to operate the facility. And so depending on how they see their needs, 2 full-time positions for sure. It's kind of your front desk area, managing the facility, cleaning, making sure people are in the spaces they're supposed to be. And probably about 5 or 6 part-time staff there. And then each user group, it's hard to calculate what they'd be creating for staff positions, but as they're expanding, a lot of these groups are renting gym space now, 1 to 2 courts. Their conversations are, their volunteer person would have to go more full-time. So I would say coaching positions, admin positions within these user groups, you'd be probably looking at 10 to 20 to start, be my guess. And then the cafe area as well would get. Yeah, so right now, the plan is to be open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. We've had some requests to possibly earlier, because there's a wellness component going in here. So people that want to, exercise before work, play pickleball before work. So potentially we'll move closer to 6 a.m. But right now it's 7 to 10 p.m. is the original hours.
So realistically, who's more excited, you guys or your children? Because I think everybody's excited, and I can imagine the kids are ready to say, my parents own this,
Go ahead.
I mean, my high school kids have had a blast playing hide and seek in there, during construction, along with riding scooters around the facility, and they're helping with the project as well. So I don't know if it's set in, but I think we're more excited at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would second that. I think, our kids just don't realize what an impact it is or what a blessing it will be to the community. and so they don't really realize what it is, but they just think it's cool. I'd say we're more excited because we understand the need with all these user groups and what this can be, and the community that it will be in just inside those walls, between the user groups and the people that are there. It's going to be fantastic synergistic approach to sports and athletics, and that's pretty cool in my eyes. I walk through there now, and I'm so antsy to get this thing up and running that I see the people walking in there, I see the activity, I see the kids playing sports, and it's just it's very cool.
You gentlemen mentioned that with the renting of those spaces to those clubs, that one of the values you're trying to have is making it affordable. How sustainable is that going to be in the future? As well, you guys are in this for a bit, but is that a value that's going to continue to the next generation of people that run this? Or how are you making that part of your business, if that makes sense? Sure.
I think long-term sustainability is the question, right? Affordability. I guess when we look at athletics and where it is today, we feel that there's two tracks of athletics. There's your public entities, which is a need for everybody, right? But there's also the private coaching communities, these private trainings. You see all over the place programming for D1 athletics, for packaged coaching models, start your own kind of thing. That's where it's growing. Athletics nationwide is a booming industry, and so the two paths we see is we're really supporting that side of it where people want to take their athletics a little more seriously. They want to, they're going to pay for the private coaching, more specialized coaching, in addition to team play, tournament play, and select play. So that's who the area that we're catering to more so, and that's why we say it's an unmet need in the community, because the YMCA does a fantastic job with what they do. Parks and Rec does a great job with what they do, but there's just an unmet need around here, and we feel that's going to continue to grow, looking at national trends, local trends, all that. So, and as affordability goes, knowing what we're building this place for, retrofitting a dead stick versus what Fargo paid for their facility, it is as affordable as ever is going to get, right? But the model privately is still multiple revenue streams, multiple. We need community buy-in, we need community support. So affordability is going to come into activation and making that happen. So we've got long-term leases in place with these user groups. We've got long-term modeling in place for revenue streams to make sure that they are sustainable, because we want them there. We want them to grow. That part of their business model is to grow their services for their kids, grow their development programs, so that we can just have a better community for our kids, really. And so we believe it's there.
Another question for you. I'm thinking about the bigger picture, and as a fellow business owner who would love to be able to do something like this for our community in the future, I'm curious, looking at your personal lives and your own business, how did you know the timing was right to take on such a large endeavor? And then how do you juggle this aside, to your operating your own business? Any tips for business owners?
As far as timing, I might let you tackle the timing. We've been after this for, like we said, about 5 years, working through things. But I think I'll maybe speak to the business side of stuff. Is we've got multiple companies, and I like to say vertically integrated. Each one supports the other, and it really comes through having a great team set up. I mean, you can't run a business by yourself at any scale. I'm a firm believer in that. If you want to do things like this, you need a great support team behind you. And through the Paramount family of companies, we've got excellent people, good people, with great intentions, and we've just built a program with them and trained them in such a way that everybody knows their role. Everybody is supportive of each other, knowing that nothing's nothing's ever perfect, especially in North Dakota weather and in business in general. And so, no, we have a great team behind us and great people, and we couldn't do it without them. And so that allows Kyle and I to, I'm going to say, elevate our time to be able to work on large projects like this. And that's where we love to be and thrive. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, timing, I don't think there's ever a good time, but, you know, the opportunity, you know, I have 2 drivers in the family now, so my time is a little more open. But yeah, I mean, the opportunity was there. So.
All right, we're getting to the end, and we'll have a couple. So the famous question I know that a lot of people are asking, especially parents, because of these facilities, are there enough parking spaces in the area?
Yes.
Very good.
Look at the aerial view on the city site, right? Like, that is the number one attraction that we had to this facility was the amount of parking spaces.
Very good.
Right? We are over our parking requirements with the city permitting process. So parking is definitely a positive. And we're also adding additional entries into the site for accessibility.
So we'll have you, any last comments or anything you'd like to make before we have our final question?
No, just come support us in any way you can. Come talk to us. Let us know if we can help you and your crew, your group. Help us make this a success for Bismarck Mandan and help it thrive, because again, we want this to be an accelerator to do more, right? And so we need your support. Come check us out. Come be a part of it. Love to have you.
Yeah, to add, we love giving tours, so if you want to throw on walking shoes, it's about a mile tour, so reach out, and it's impressive to get in there. You see the little sliver on Airport Road when you drive by, you know, it's kind of a parking question, but once you get back there, it's a 14-acre site, so, you know, central South Bismarck, we'll call it, at this point, so.
All right, Ross, our last question.
Well, we kind of just answered it a little bit, but thanks again for what you guys are doing, because as a parent of the kids that have gone through that piece already, I understand how big of a hassle it was to travel all the time, and how being, you know, associated with the Chamber EDC for a long time, knowing how much that brings to the community if you can have those events come to our town, to bring folks here to spend money. So thanks for all of that you're doing, and what can we as the 1 Million Cups community do to help you guys to continue to succeed?
Yeah, same answer. Just come support us. Let us know how we can help other groups. If anybody's out there that knows of a club or a league, a group that needs space, businesses that want to come in and be part of that medical group. So, rambling again. Yep. But no, just let us know how we can help, and come check it out, just because we love everybody in town to come be part of this.
Kyle was saying Jarred does all the talking anyway, so we'll just let him go. All right, Kyle, Jarred, thank you so much. Paramount Builders and Next Play Rec Center.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got coming up, we should have another slide. Next week, we start getting into the 4th of July, so we are going to take the week off. So we will not have anything on July 1st next week. Following 2 weeks after that, the Family Day Riverwalk on July 8th. Rhonda Stiles Rodeo will be here to fill us in on that. And then Leadership Bismarck Mandan on July 15th. Brenda will come back and be a part of our show that day. And we want to, again, thank all of you. You can key in on the barcodes or the scan codes here and check in on Facebook and where we do all of our background information and that kind of thing. Email us and send. So if you want to be a presenter, please let us know. Or if you know of someone or some business that you would like to see on the stage, please let us know. So we do have some spots towards the end of the year. We're filling up pretty good. So we can do that. So once again, we want to thank you for being here today and braving the construction elements and all of that kind of thing, our summer season of North Dakota construction. So thank you all very much. Have a great week, and we'll see you in a couple.